going on. You know what's going down. You know what's going down. All right.
What is up? What's going on, man? So tonight we're without JT. He's out with his family in the Outer Banks doing something out there. So I guess maybe looking for Roscoe. Who knows, man? Maybe one day we'll find this guy. But tonight we got a star-studded panel. We got Brian. Brian, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. I'm a little wired. I'm a little tired. It's a weeknight. I'm drinking cold coffee out of a hydro flask, so that's where I'm at tonight.
Somebody's jacked up. And Danny, man, how you doing, buddy?
Lee, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for the invite. Happy to be here talking some Charlotte soccer with some luminaries here in the community. You guys are awesome. I love reading you. I love watching your vids, and now I'm here talking with you. I went a little stronger than Brian. I'm drinking a Four Roses bourbon and soda on the rocks, as I like to do here. When I get on a microphone, if you've ever listened to the show I do with my friend John, we're always drinking while we record. So I just had to get in the spirit, I guess. Cheers.
What's up, man? What's up? So, all right. First off, we'll do a couple of things, right? So tonight we're giving a picture away of Sir Minty. So if you want to win the picture of Sir Minty from our friend Adam from Defend the Queen, in the chat there, just put hashtag Sir Minty, and that'll get you entered in. And boy, do we got a lot of stuff to talk about, man. Jesus, it's been a whirlwind week, man, and we still got a game coming up Saturday, right? So first up, man, I guess we'll just dive straight into it, man. We'll talk about, I know it didn't happen, but we'll talk about the Columbus game and how much fun we all had waiting for it to start, and then getting to watch 16 minutes of it, and going from there. So I don't know, Danny, how was your night the Columbus game last Saturday?
Oh, it was a long, cold, wet night. I started at the tailgate early. I was one of the first people down. I actually got free parking right out on the street, right outside the tailgate. That's how early I was. There was open spaces, so that was cool. Nice. And I just, started drinking early, hanging out with the crew. There was some bomb chicken that Min City Collective put out at the tailgate. Some chicken and rice that was just blowing my mind. So the day started great. And then it was the clouds start swirling in, the lightning starts, the delays start, and we find ourselves in the concourse. I did think the club was pretty cool about some of the adjustments they made to the policy to allow people to stream into the conconcourse. But the problem was then there was a whole hell of a lot of people in that concourse, and it was hot. It was just really felt like a sauna almost, and all this body heat is just radiating. But at least we could be drinking beers and having fun. And it was a waiting game. I was texting people that had eyes on the weather. Like, is there any chance to start at 8:30? Is there any chance to start at 9:30? That, and it was just brutal. And then of course the game finally starts.
Yeah,
it's pretty exciting. People are going, they're after it, and then it's called. And the thing I'll remember most is actually I didn't have fun at all the entire day in any one given moment necessarily because of all this, but when I looked back on it, I actually really had a great time. It was a really memorable experience. But I'll always remember just being drenched, walking back from the stadium to my car down on the tailgate, and you can only get so wet, right? So I was absolutely after about 30 seconds of the rain, it was just a pure.
It was a long day for sure, man. We had did some practice for the supporters group soccer tournament that's going on tomorrow night, man, and then going from there and into the game. I was pretty wore out. Brian, man, what do you think of the 16 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, of the 16 minutes, I actually was pretty excited about it. The 16 minutes, I was pretty excited. Maybe part of that was just because we had waited 4 hours, plus for that 16 minutes, so we were just nipping at the, just at the bit for some action, and they were providing it. But I was in okay shape. In the press box there was air conditioning, so I honestly felt I felt a little spoiled. But my wife and brother, it was my brother's first soccer experience, and so I felt really bad for him. And I think there was actually a decent amount of fans that came that that was their first soccer experience. So I really felt for them specifically because just what a brutal showing for that. And it's not really common for these situations to happen. And so it's kind of hard to prepare for them.
I think Robert says it best, right? We'll never know if we can do it in a hot, rainy day in Charlotte, right?
Yeah.
We could handle the rain if it wasn't for the lightning. I would love to sit and watch a full 90-minute match in pouring rain. That would be awesome. It's that lightning that forces the whole cancellation.
But I mean, anybody with a weather app that day could have told us that hey, this is probably going to get canceled a lot earlier than what it was, man.
Let me ask you a question. You might know, Brian, especially, like, was there any chance, like, how hard would it have been? We knew that was kind of coming 2 or 3 days in advance. Could the league, I know it falls on the league, not the club, right? Like, why couldn't the league have helped us out and moved that kickup off a couple hours?
Because Charlotte.
I'd imagine that, and I just imagine it's got to do something with the TV contracts and everything like that, and all the other scheduling. Even though it wasn't a nationally televised game,
right? It's ESPN Plus can stream whenever. So,
but I mean, I'd imagine that plays a role. I mean, it seems like the league is really tight on just everything, which is why they're making all the calls. Even though both teams, I think, had been clearly stated, like, look, this is getting ridiculous. It's getting like 10 o'clock. We're not going to be out of here till. People aren't going to get home till 3 or 4. It looked like at one point if they were trying to get the game going. And
I wish they had told us earlier that we could have come back in, right? That would have, if they could have communicated that a little better, I think it would have.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there were people asking ushers at the door. They were leaving, and they're like, "Hey, if we leave, can we come back?" And they're like, "Maybe, we don't know. Probably it says you can't, but we might let you." And it was that some clearer communication there would have helped for sure.
This is a valid point about a noise ordinance in Charlotte, man. I'm not sure if that's true or not either, but it makes sense, right?
I thought that would have been the case as well. I thought they probably wouldn't have been able to start later than 10 or 11 just because of something like that. But I mean, it didn't seem like that even was a phase at all, because it seemed like they were willing to really wait it out until it was just like, oh, it's gonna be lightning until 2 a.m.
Yeah.
or something.
I guess this is another valid point too, right? Getting all the police and everybody out there doing what needs to be done and that sort of thing. I'm sure the overall things that we don't see go on is a lot to put together. But regardless, I think that's enough. I think we should talk about last night's game against TCU.
Much better, much more exciting topic.
What a great game, man. Like, the boys showed up. They played well. I mean, I can't really think of too much to nitpick them about. Go for it, guys. So one of y'all start off and tell me what you thought of the game.
I mean, I think I was a little apprehensive at first just because of how the last 2 games went going in. It was like a pretty must-win game just to see them show up. So going into it, I think it was just I was a little nervy leading into it. And then also with Bender and McNeil both starting at center mid again, like they did in Columbus. I think seeing those lineups both on Saturday and yesterday was like, I was just like, man, there's just no experience there. We're completely kind of sacrificing experience in the mid, but it worked out in our favor. We stretched the field with gains. Mora also looked great on the left. And so we just seemed like actually we had a lot of just togetherness in terms of being able to attack from both sides of the field. And I think that was like maybe honestly the first time I've seen that, where we were able to get attacks in from either side. And if you look, I think we had 9 attacks on the right, 10 on the left, and then 13 in the middle. So we were really coming at them from all angles. And I don't really feel like we've been able to do anything nearly that impressive or balanced throughout the course of the entire season.
Yeah,
Mora
was on it. He was on it, man. I was going to bring up Gaines real quick. I know, like, the one thing we all kind of say about Gaines is just his final crossing, but I can slowly sort of see him getting better. He definitely does stretch out that. He does stretch it out for us. So, like, to your point, Brian, right, about the midfield getting overloaded or whatever. I feel like he kind of pulled that away. I made DC have to honor that, right, which then didn't jam up the middle so much. So go ahead, Danny.
Oh, I totally agree about the wing play, and the own goal came from the left. That was a really nice Mora cross that, it's an own goal, but pretty nice quality for service to Carroll that they just couldn't handle. It could have easily been scored as a Carroll goal with a bounce in a different way, so that was huge. Yordi had the great cross in from the left that Gaines put a header on in the first half that Romo made an insane save. I never would have thought Romo could make a save like that. I don't rate him as a goalkeeper at all.
Yeah.
So that was too bad. So we could have had five goals potentially with, something like a chance like that goes in later in the game when Shinya was in. There was a spot where Gaines got free and he had Shinya almost unmarked at the near post, and he went for the shot instead of the cross. it was after he'd already had 1 assist from across, so maybe he was feeling a little more greedy at that point and wanted a shot. Who knows? But that could have been a goal for sure. So it was good. Like DC, I do think DC kind of gave us those wings. Like we went and took them for sure. Mora played great. Affle played great. The attacking wingers both played great. Gaines and Reyna. But DC kind of gave it up to us. DC played a really compact style. They generally tend to do that. But it's nice. You want to be a team that goes out there and punishes a bad team and like exposes the weaknesses that a bad team shows you. And that's part when you're on your way to becoming one of the top teams, you make the bad teams look really bad. And we did that. So I was really excited.
That's what's up. So before we go any further, I'd like to give a shout out to the shipping department. We love the shipping department on this show. We are so thankful for the shipping department and everything the shipping department does. So cheers to the shipping department. So with that being said, you're right. 5-0. I think it could have easily been 5-0. Man, it was we definitely showed them. To me, it was good to kind of see where we came from game 1 to this game. I'm not saying DC is that good to begin with, but definitely giving it back to him was a lot of fun. So yeah.
I think there was the one part that I was a little bit anxious about was that we didn't finish any more of those clear chances in the first half, and we left it at 1-0. And then leading into the second half, we kind of gave them a little bit of breathing room in that first 15 minutes of the second half when I was thinking maybe we should bring in some subs. Changed on a dime real quick with those 2 goals before the subs came in. But, that 45th minute to 60th minute was a little bit more dicey than I would liked it to have been. We were up 1-0 at that point, so it was okay. But, they had just beaten a team like that, by getting 2 goals late. And so
right. That was in my mind for sure. Yeah. I was turning to like my friends in the stands. I was like, hey, remember what happened against Orlando with DC for sure. Yeah. And Orlando completely parked the bus. Orlando, they play for 1-0 wins a lot. That's kind of their coach's philosophy. So I was glad to see that we didn't necessarily do that. I do agree, Brian, that first 15 minutes of the second half was a little nervier than you want. But potentially that was like DC's focus to try to.
We always start out though. We always start out nervy. Like we were always apt to give up a goal in the second half.
DC has conceded a goal in the first 15 minutes in something like 8 out of their last 12 games or something like that. And thankfully we jumped onto that trend. And so maybe in the second half, they were just like, look, for the first 15 minutes of this half, we are not going to sit here and get ripped open like we have been. And so that's kind of the sense I got. But they were kind of threatening us also.
Yeah.
They had a couple
I want to give a shout out to Bronico, man. I swear, if this guy scores a goal, he's going to be man of the match, right? The only reason he never gets picked when I'm asking you guys after the game is because somebody scored or did something right. But Bronico, I think he's been one of the best players of the season, in my opinion.
He was close, man. He was close. He had a laser in there. Gaines. That was actually a really nice run of play too by a bunch of them. They all had like a really good team connection to get him to that shot, and it was like that was going to be the one. To be honest, like it was right there. But
side netting, I saw him take a shot from that same exact spot in the pregame warmup.
Yeah,
and he hit side netting, and it's like, oh, Brant, you missed a wide open goal. And it's so funny that the same chance fell to him in the match. I was like, and he came a little closer in the live action, at least, than he did in the warm up. So
this is true, right? We are sort of more aggressive on the wings for sure since the gaffer's taken over, right? So and Wayne Rooney should have started. Whatever, Brian.
We got a nice anti Wayne Rooney chant going in the supporters section. It was I don't know if I can repeat it here on a family show, but it was fun.
Oh, man, there's no rules on here, man. If you feel like singing, go and sing.
Yeah, fuck Wayne Rooney. It was going strong for sure. Everybody was doing it. It was awesome. That was right after Carroll's goal. It was tremendous.
Yeah, I agree with Scooch, man. I feel like a lot of us went to bed smelling like beer.
Yeah.
So
I took 2 showers. And I was driving to work this morning. I was like, do I still smell like beer in my hair? Like, what the hell?
No, man, it's terrible. It's terrible. But yeah, overall, man, I really can't think of anything bad of what to say, man. Again, we have that 1 or 2 sloppy pass that we kind of put ourselves in a predicament and Kalina bails us out. But overall, man, yeah, and I agree with Churchy, man. This is a completely different team than the first DC game for sure. And
what do you think of like the long-term holds right now for what we're seeing from McNeil from that, translate last night into the rest of the season? Is he reaching a higher level? Is he just fitting in the mix? What do you guys think?
I think Latanzio's playing him right, and I still don't think he's our go-to guy for sure, but he's plugging the hole that's needing to be filled.
Yeah, I think what he does specifically well is like he just provides a lot of energy and just movement and just being in like good positions a lot of the time, which just helps Bronico so much. Because I mean, I think Bronico a lot of times just gets stuck in an island there, and he just has to do so much running and back and forth defending and to everywhere. And I just like I feel like his legs specifically had looked a little tired on the road, and I think that the home crowd gives him specifically a big boost, and he just feels it in his legs a little bit more when he's on the road. And I think that's just where McNeil fits in so well. And in this game specifically, he looked like he was more in a double pivot and just really helping him stay back and defend and let Bender kind of take the middle in an attacking position a little bit more freely. But I think that's where it really fits. And it seems like, overall, he's just fitting into the system better and now finding more confidence in finished products. Whereas I think at first he was just completing lots of passes. Right. He wasn't, I mean, it was there and it was helping. He was like, but he wasn't turning the ball over and he was completing lots of passes. But now, like, he's starting to make more progressive passes, a little bit more risk, finding himself in dangerous areas. He had like Bender put him in the box a couple of times, it looked like, and he was like in more dangerous areas and attacking space. So it just seems like he's also, feeling that confidence and doing a little bit more as well.
What do you think of Churchy's questions? McNeil, Bender, Bronico, the long term?
Not after this deadline day, probably not. But I like where it is. It could be the long term for next year potentially. Who knows? But I think some of this Nuno Santos signing, which we'll get into at some point. But I think one of our youngsters is in danger of
hitting
some loss of playing time. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What's up, Adam, man? And again, Adam has been kind enough to give us the Sir Minty giveaway. So if you want in, hit hashtag Sir Minty in the comments, and that will get you entered. And if you're new to the show, please hit the sub button. And if you're a regular here, hit the like button, get that algorithm going for us. We appreciate that too.
I'm on the show and I just hit the like button. So I don't know if that counts double or only half. But
I don't know. They might take it away from us now. And like button.
There was one other thing that I felt like was weird that I deserved to mention. I think actually Jonathan Alvarez mentioned it earlier, but like Rooney took Taxi out at the half, I'm pretty sure. And that was just like, I mean, because he's like literally the only player that has been productive on that team the whole season. And so I thought, I didn't know if he was maybe injured or something.
He said it was a groin tightness issue that Taxi complained about, but he's not on the injury report for the weekend and he is expected to start again this weekend. So I think it was precautionary on Taxi. I could sense Taxi was a little frustrated. He was the one guy I was most worried about on DC, and I was very happy to see him sub off for sure.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, he's been brilliant. So it
was such a good game. You know, the crowd wasn't as packed as I would have liked it to have been, though. But I'm assuming that's just because it was a Wednesday, and well, once you get out of supporter section, most of them are just sipping wine and eating cheese, anyways, right?
I brought a first timer to the match, a friend of mine from work, and he had trouble getting there for traffic. 7:00 kickoff in uptown Charlotte. You all know how bad it is driving around this damn town. We've pretty much doubled in size since the last time we built a new road. So I don't know.
Me and Wesley rolled up at 3 and started.
Yeah, well, of course, that's what I do. Yeah, but I think that the cool thing, though, was that it did fill in. I was about 15 minutes to kickoff. I was looking around like, I don't know about this, if we're going to even get our 30K or not. But I think we probably got up to 30K by the end. By about 15 minutes in, it was looking pretty nice.
Yeah. And, there was a comment I wanted to pull up here. Where is it? About Carroll. Carroll's just getting blasted on Facebook, man, talking about how crap he is, man. But
what?
Do we give it? Yeah. Facebook gets it gets a little nasty over there.
Weren't they taking steps to reduce misinformation on Facebook? I thought I read about that in the news somewhere. How's this getting through?
Yeah, no idea. We're trying to get out of Charlotte. Yeah, it is a mess for sure. And yes, we do have the second highest MLS average attendance. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what else there really is to say about DC, man. We came out, we did what we needed to do. We got 3 points. We're sitting in that final position of the playoffs. 23 games.
Carroll was great. It's got to be said. Like if there's anything else to say about DC, it's just that, man, that was to get the goal was nice, but he just killed it the whole game, and he was more in tune with his teammates and shouting out services, with the clap above the head and stuff like that. And I'm probably one of the harshest critics that I know of on Carroll this year, at least among people that are fans of the club. I've been pretty negative on him at times, but like that is kind of fading away because recent performances capped off by what we saw against DC. Like he's really growing into like the ownership of it. He's our designated player in real life now, not just because of the label, and it's great.
Yeah. And I think it also is like because I mean it also goes with his style of play, right? I feel like early on he was really the only guy up there, right? Sort of a lot more. I feel like on an island by himself, and he's not an island by himself kind of 9. Like he's never really played that way. He's always played off of another striker or other attacking help, and he play. And that, I mean, you can see by the way he comes in, drops in deep, and interacts with the play in a different way than a striker constantly on the back shoulder. And so I think that also played a big role into some of the lack of productivity early on. And I mean, I think also a new signing.
I think he was more willing to, what I saw was if he had to come back to get the ball, he was more willing to like then kick it out to the wing and go on a run. Whereas earlier in the year, if he had to track back for the ball, he was just going to try to dribble through guys and get himself back to the box. But now he's playing in a team concept even more so, and it's great.
And it provides unpredictability because he's doing both, right? He's dribbling up at times and then also sending it out wide.
Yeah, and so, I mean, all I can say is Carroll's showing up. We won 3-0. You know, everybody's scoring. Everybody's having fun. You can tell the guys, they were up for it, right? I mean, they definitely had the legs last night and were ready to play. So, yeah, man. So let's talk about the Chicago game real quick, man. I know that's coming up Saturday.
Yeah.
Another big game for us, right? We still need to win this sucker, man. You know, what do you guys have to say about that?
Well, so now we're on the quick turnaround, right? So now, whereas before DC was the quick turnaround, and we had the long week because of the rain delay. Now we're on the quick turnaround. We only had 2 days off. We're playing Chicago. For me, the main thing is like they're on a 4-game win, like 4 games undefeated, and it just shows how quickly you can go from. I mean, they were like bottom feeders. And now they were ahead of us in the table because of their 4-game streak. So like, it would just be really nice if we could see Charlotte go on like one solid streak this season, just to see where that ended up putting us. Because I think that's the one thing we've lacked all season.
Yeah, that's how you shoot. That's how you shoot up the table in MLS and in any league. Is you go on a run and you win. You get 10 points out of 4 games and stuff like that. Which I thought Toronto was going to be an easy 3 points. So I thought we were going to be in the middle of one of those runs. Now we're still kind of getting ready to start it, but I believe it can happen. I think we can beat Chicago.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, easy. I think we're going to beat them for sure. I mean, we got no choice. We're at home. So,
right.
I mean, I was looking at the stat for that. Apparently we have like the second best record for home wins for an expansion team that's come into the MLS. Right. So it's and then obviously our away record is probably one of the worst, but you know, it's, I mean, if we're gonna make those playoffs, these are the points we got to snag, man. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens, man. So we won't go too deep into that because I know everybody wants to talk about the new player signings and everything today, man. So give me your score predictions, and you guys drop them too in the chat for Saturday.
If I remember right, Lee, when I was talking to you on cam in my drunken stupor excitement as I walked out of the keep the other night. I told you that it was going to be, you asked me for prediction, then I said 2-1. So if I'm going to stick with that 2-1, Chicago has some guys that can get some goals. Shaqiri, Mueller's there now. They got Jairo Torres, they haven't really unleashed yet. I think they can get a goal on us, but I think they're going to be vulnerable and we can score 2 on them, easily get the victory at home.
That's what's up. Go ahead, bro.
I think it's going to be a little difficult for us to rack up a decent amount of goals on them just because their defense is pretty compact and they're solid. They've been solid of late, especially, and Slanina seems like he's back in pretty good form before he makes his move to Chelsea. I do think we're going to get some chances against him. I think we're going to dominate possession in a lot of this game. And I mean, just like we normally do at home. I think we catch them early, but then it's a little harder to put them away. And we're just going to have to kind of hang on a little bit. I think we're going to get them 1-0. I'm going with that prediction again. We'll see it. We worked last time. We ended up winning 3-0. So if I stick with it, we'll see. But I think Gaines gets his first goal. I think he's on really good form right now.
Love
the
that
last
prediction.
games, and we'll see.
How about, I love what Gallimore
threw in
there,
there,
man,
he had last night.
Shout out to Gallimore with the
26-4.
26-4. Yeah, like if that's the result, then we will be loving life for sure in Bank of America Stadium.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 2-1 myself, man. And I don't think we get a clean sheet, but it'll be nice to get those 3 points and continue to the playoff push for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, anything else you guys want to say before we jump to what everybody wants to talk about?
Yeah, so actually I did have one stat that I was looking because I was kind of curious as to where things kind of lie in terms of just specifically Gaines' performance. And so I just looked non-penalty combined expected goals and assists. He's actually leading the team at 0.49 per 90. So his per 90 is leading the team in non-penalty expected goals and assists. Mackenzie Gaines is. I just looked it up now. It's 0.49 out of starters.
Yeah, he gets into good positions. That's the reason why he does.
And
His problem is turning that XG into G. This is the issue.
XG or the XA as well. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like he might be able to go on a heater. I don't know. I'm going back. It's been a roller coaster with me and him all season, and I'm back on it.
He's such a nice guy, though, man. He's such a nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's the problem with some of these players. Like you start talking to them, you realize they're actually genuine people, and it's kind of hard sometimes to criticize them. Yeah. But anyways, as long as we win 2-1, I'll be happy, man. I'll be happy. So, all right, man. So let's talk about these players, man. Who we want to talk about first? I'll let you guys pick. We want to start from the back and work our way forward.
That works. Yeah. I was thinking maybe go with the most impact to the least impact. We've been here 30 minutes. The people have been waiting for us. Let's get to the big stuff right away.
Santos, huh?
Okay.
All right, Brian, have at it, man. Start us off.
So I've watched one game of his. It was when he was back at Boa Vista, and it was against Sporting. And so, and I think this is what people are missing a lot of times, and when it comes to his stats, is that he grew up in a really strong academy. And like between Porto and Boa Vista, and then worked his way professionally through Benfica. These are like really outstanding programs. Mm-hmm. So he's been around a lot of time. I imagine maybe even Tavares played a role at one, maybe in putting a word in at one point when they're negotiating him coming over potentially. Mm-hmm. But also, I just when it comes to his stats, the places he's been getting loaned out to are just way lower on the table. It's way harder to get those results because they're the parity does not exist in Portugal the way it does in MLS. And so if you're at a team that's at mid-table, you're just going to have a way harder time performing, especially against the really top clubs.
For sure.
And so I think that's my first point. And then second point, if he were to have a ton, like his stats would be off the charts, he would be at Arsenal, at Chelsea, going for 40, 45 million. We just saw he's not the
elite clubs.
Yeah,
in England.
Yeah, we're talking about Charlotte and other elite clubs.
Yeah.
But no, like people have been saying this. I saw this on Twitter a lot today. That he's being loaned back. I don't think it's a loan deal. I think think he's going to be here in Charlotte and ready to go. So
2024, 25 is a 25 option, but through 2024, I'm pretty sure.
No loan, right?
No. There's no loan at all. He's here, right. And he's
here, and he's a player, and he's going to play. Basically,
we've seen how loan players work out for Charlotte FC. We don't want any part of that right now.
Yeah, and I mean, touching on him again, right? Is like, where does he fit in, right? What with the mid kind of establishing itself? Like, I guess that kind of then takes us to this one. Who hits the bench, right?
It comes down to pedigree. I think he has to be given first chance to get in there, just like Jusviak was immediately inserted in the starting lineup and then was given the chance to play his way out, and he has, but I think Santos has to be based on just everything that Brian just went through as far as his upbringing in the game and what we have done to go, the aggressive move to go get him here on a deadline day. Yeah, I think that it's probably he could slot in ahead of Bender. He may slot in ahead of McNeil. McNeil plays a little bit more. McNeil can play a double pivot more than Bender can. That's why I think Bender would probably be the first candidate to go back to the bench for Santos. And hopefully he'll be able to do a little better than Jusviak in terms of, staying in the starting lineup once he gets in. So I'm really excited about Nuno Santos. It's funny. If you're looking for Nuno Santos videos on YouTube, like a lot of us were probably as soon as we heard about the signing, you got to be careful because there's like another really good Nuno Santos who plays for Sporting Lisbon. So you got to make sure you got the right Nuno Santos. And there's actually like 3 or 4 others. It's kind of like Joe Smith in Portugal is what I'm gathering. So who knows how great he's going to be, but I do think he will be given the chance to shine early and often as soon as he gets here.
Yeah, and Pancake, you're right, man. They did say that he was coming back. He was going on the loan, but he's not. From everything I know of the deal, he's not going to be on loan. He's going to be straight here in Charlotte. So
Charlotte said it was a permanent transfer in their article today, and I'm pretty sure the year was 2024 with an option for 2025. I'll have to double check that. I figured I might have to do a decent amount of Googling and searching throughout this part of the episode, so I have it pulled up. I'll double check it. But another point, I think, so whereas I think a lot of people are going to expect a Cam that's like a more of a traditional 10 that's a creative, like passing midfielder. That's not going to be, at least from what I've seen so far, maybe not his main go-to. He seems like a really aggressive, physical kind of option who's going to press. He's willing to defend hard as well. And he seems like a lot of times he tries to find space in the box and score goals, which I think actually is going to work well with Carroll, because when Carroll drops deep, he'll be able to take that space in behind and kind of vice versa. It's kind of how my first impression of him is, like, he's going to be a guy looking for some goals.
So hearing that kind of makes me change my thinking, and maybe Bender does stay in and McNeil would be the one to go. I'm not 100% sure. I guess it's really up to Latanzio. I kind of have to feel like I have to see more of Nuno to really know and answer that question.
No, for sure. Yeah. I think McNeil, my thing would be McNeil stays in, just because Latanzio seems to be like real favor of just stability. Like, just whatever position you play, are you defensively stable and like capable of keeping your shape,
right,
your role within the team, and keeping possession, which is something that Bender has had a lot of hits and misses with. And I mean,
Neil's just like thicker than Bender and like just a little bit stronger. You get the feeling. Although Bender looked like he'd been hitting the weight room while the team was traveling to Canada. Ben must have been back at home lifting the weights for sure.
He's starting to hear the talk.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, how long would that take for our players to get here? I'm assuming visas is going to be a thing, right? And that sort of thing. So I'd say at least obviously not Saturday, right? But I would imagine our next game, they should be eligible, I would think. For some reason, soccer players get their visas pretty quick over us common folks. So I don't know.
They all are in off season. I don't think any of them really started preseason. They probably they might need a week or two. So I don't know how much.
Right. Byrne and Miranda have pictures standing in Bank of America Stadium holding Charlotte FC jerseys. So they're either here now or they have been here and then went back. I'm not sure, but I do. Yeah, I was on one thing I read said that did not project them that everybody to be available till the 21st, which would be 17 days. That seemed a little far out to me, but who knows?
Yeah. Maybe to play. I mean, I just feel like they're going to have to be getting into shape, I'd imagine.
All right. So I think we chatted. Anything else you guys want to say on Santos real quick?
Cannot wait to see him in blue. Let's go.
That's it. All right. So I know the next couple of players, fans, and again, mostly on Facebook, it seems like we're bitching that, hey, why do we go for some defenders? Why do we get more defenders? We're stacked with defenders. Like, why do we need a defender? And obviously that was before, our attacking midfielder was announced. But let's think about this, right? I mean, let's go. What's his name? Brian or whatever. Byrne.
Nathaniel Byrne. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll screw up everybody's name, man, except for my own, apparently. But I mean, he's a right back by trade, right? I mean, he's 30 years old. A fool's 36 now. I know some people.
If you think of like Goldilocks from the Three Bears, if Affo is just a little too old and Lindsay's a little too young, Nathaniel Byrne is just right. Hopefully we'll see.
Yeah,
and it was, I think it's at least for this season, it's a depth thing, but I could see this being a long-term decent sign-in, right? I mean, the guy's got. I mean, he
absolutely killed it in the championship last year for sure. And he plays and plays and plays. He's played almost every minute for 5 years. I saw in Caleb Adams' article. That's encouraging. His teammates voted him their player of the year. So that's encouraging. And I know so the Derby fans that I could see online today as they were all reacting to this, they were all pissed because they're not getting because their club is absolutely broke and they weren't getting a transfer fee out of this. They were getting no compensation because he kind of came in on like a modified free transfer with supposedly his agent played some financial chicanery to avoid having to pay Derby money. So that's why they're all upset. They think he betrayed him. But like, if you look for those same fans, what they might have been saying about this guy a couple months ago, it was like, oh, they love him. He's the man. So I think he presents a lot of potential. I think Affle has played really well. And I actually really love Jalen Lindsey. And my preference would be to just always play Jalen Lindsey and let him learn and grow into the role on the field. But if that was going to cost us a playoff position, which maybe if we were to do that, maybe that's what the team thinks, then I understand going to strengthen the position. I do hope that Lindsey's such an awesome person. Just like if you ever seen him out there interacting with the fans in the community, like I really hope he's here for a long time to come. But as far as Nathaniel Byrne, he can take corner kicks. He took a lot of corner kicks for Derby. So he's going to be on some set pieces. That's kind of a British thing. I feel like that to have your fullbacks take your corner kicks, that you don't see that quite as much.
You mean
in
English?
So who knows? The English are part of the British. So what can I say? I think the Scots and Irish do the same thing. So what can I say? But
fair enough.
There's some good Scottish fullbacks as well.
No doubt. Yeah, James Tavernier would be one of them, obviously for Rangers if you want to go there. So.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts here on the back line, right? It's like, all right, Fuchs, he's going to retire maybe at the end of this season. I don't know, right? I mean, he's getting his coaching badges and that sort of thing.
I wanted to ask you guys about that. Like, is Fuchs going to ever start again at this point? Who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah, Moore looked really good. So I think he might have lost that position, and that center back pairing is looking really solid.
Right.
And walks, and so there's just really nowhere for him to fit right now. And I think, it goes back to like, and Afoul's out of contract right after this year. There's an option, but if you look at the contract situations, Afoul and Jones are out of contract. Fuchs is out of contract, right? So there's actually, even though they picked up defenders now, it's not necessarily, like you said earlier, Lee, like it's not just for this season. It's because we're missing at least a center back who could be a starter next season. And
I mean, some players are available to grab now. Grab them, right? Let's not wait until we're in a position where we need players. Because I mean, we stole money off of New England, giving them a Coon, right? Yep. And I can't say I'm honestly sad about that happening. But then just thinking ahead, right? Like you mentioned it, like Caruso's played a solid season, right? And teams are watching and scouting him, and at the end of the day, is it possible that he could go too? I mean, we've always talked about buying players and selling them on, right? As a club, that's the sort of style we're going to do. So these two defenders obviously could be a part of that puzzle too, right?
Yeah, for sure. It gives them options, right? It's that whole like flexibility and an options approach. And that was like my big concern going into this summer window. And then as it went on, without them getting any signings, was like, man, regardless if it's about making the playoffs this year or not, for me, it was just like, do we really want to have to stick the club in a situation where they have to make like potentially 8 or 9 signings in the winter, where we already saw what one winter window looked like, and it was kind of a shit show. Like there was a lot of things happening, a lot of luck that did not go their way, and if you have to put a team together, like that much of a team together during one window before the season starts, it just seemed like it might have been too much. And that's where I really feel like a lot of these signings help. It's just it not only potentially helps them the rest of the season, but it takes a lot of the pressure off of them going into the winter in terms of just like there's a lot less work they have to do up front when it comes to like who do they sign, how do they right now they can like think a little bit longer about the Shinyashiki contract if they want to, or mull that over, right?
Shinny contract, sorry to interrupt you, but like getting that money from New England, I mean, that's a big payday in order to be able to pay the man what he wants. And I personally think he's kind of earned it, at least from what I've seen here in Charlotte, And it sounds like he wants to stick around.
Yeah. Again, he should have had he made a brilliant run and should have had a goal against DC, and the ball didn't come to him. It would have been a tap in.
Some questions about when Arma comes back. I think he's out for the season
next year.
Yeah, and I mean he plays left back too, right? So, and before he got hurt, he was coming on pretty good too. So, I mean he was the best player on the team against Greenville, and that's the game he got hurt, unfortunately. Yeah.
His rehabbing seems to be going well. I actually he's a couple months away.
Yeah, and if you want to watch a good a good clip or a good video. Top Ben dropped something today on his YouTube channel with was it George, Chris, and Adam? Man, he was kind of doing like get to know the players sort of thing. It was kind of fun to watch. I hope he does more of those sort of things too. So shout out to Top Ben for us. All right, so
the one thing I want to say about all these signings is even as some of these new guys come in, namely Byrne and Santos, and maybe push some of our current starters back to the bench, it's all depth at this point because we're in this playoff chase. Like I didn't want to get excited about it really until this point of the season. I felt that some of the celebration of, we're in playoff position of like 3 weeks ago might have been premature, but now I can see the finish line. We're 12 games away, right? So like I can like look at, or maybe 14 games away. But when I look at what we have in front of us, I know that it's about to become a grind. If you follow MLS, you know that like this is where the season gets real, is where, all the 5 months we've been going so far has been great. But now it's like about like who can relight their fire and like go up to another higher level to get themselves into the playoffs and push through the playoffs to MLS Cup. So like, yes, Santos may push McNeil or Bender back to the bench, but that doesn't mean McNeil and Bender aren't going to be huge parts of what we're doing, whether it's subs or rotation, after a long week and stuff like that. So like,
sport, right?
It's all good is what I'm trying to say. Like friends of mine who I've talked to before, like they know me as a guy who's like, they might think of me as kind of like negative about the prospects of the club because I think of myself as a realist and I think I have pretty high standards. So I want to hold my club to those standards. But I'm getting like more and more in Kool-Aid mode now as we approach the final stretch run of the season. The Kool-Aid has been drunk and like I'm like so excited for what we're going to bring. And like every game means like so much more now. And really, every I
mean, it's in their hands. It's in their hands, right? It's
every tackle, every pass, every duel, every save, every shot means more now. So it's amazing.
So the last player we picked up was Miranda, right? I mean, Brian, you want to touch on him?
I mean, got his highlights, his highlight reel. I mean, I know it's only clips of what he does well, but it's unbelievable. Like I don't have any of the highlight reels of any of the. I mean, Miranda's clips are just, his passing is just absurdly good. Like I was so impressed in the 5. I mean, I haven't seen a ton, but I'm probably going to be watching a lot of him specifically just because I've really enjoyed his style of play. His touches are really incredible. He plays with a real, just like, it's a super like French style, just like playful with the ball, really enjoys having the ball at his feet and just doing fantastic things with it. And that's even from like a center back position where he's really athletic.
I love what you're saying. I'll go watch these highlight clips because I love to watch beautiful highlight clips. It sounds a lot like what people were saying about Christian McCoon when he first, before we got to see him play. So that would be my one caveat there. But
oh, for sure.
Well, I know everybody seems to be happy that McCoon's gone. I mean, we all scratching our heads.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I liked McCoon more than most, and I didn't even really like him. So that goes to show you. But what I'm saying is all the good stuff we're hearing about Miranda was the same good stuff that was said about McCoon when we first brought him in before we started.
Absolutely.
That's what I worry about. But
no, 100%. And I think it goes back to like that flexibility thing though, right? And we bring him in a situation where he gets to be the 3rd or 4th center back and try to figure out whether or not he can earn his way in.
Mm-hmm. And he's 20, right? Yeah. He's 20 years old. So
much time. I mean, Jan has so much time too. And I think what the potential between the two of them, just because Jan plays a beautiful ball with his left foot. And so just the two of them, I don't know. I just was
never understood why he started over Jan either. But Robert's comment kind of caught my eye right here. He's saying we're begging for a good ball playing center back. I think Walks does a solid job, man. I mean, I think he's a solid player. I think that's a good pairing. Again, right? We don't know what's going to happen with contracts after this season and who's going to get sold on or whatever. But it's going to be interesting. I think I'm pretty happy with the players that we picked up in this window.
Yeah, no, my romanticizing over Miranda is for like 2025. Like I am fine with. I'm absolutely thrilled about the Crujo Walks partnership, and I think I really want to see that develop and grow for multiple seasons. Don't get me wrong; that's where I want them. I want to see what that happens. Like, I mean, having a partnership that plays together for multiple seasons, it only ends up getting better just because they get more and more familiar with each other, and I think they both do. They both complement each other so well. So no, Miranda, I think for me is just he could be that next step after this pairing runs its course. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of both Kuro and Walks. I mean,
and could he find himself playing for our MLS Next Pro team next season?
100%.
Exactly.
100%.
So like that's a whole other thing. I often have to remind myself and fellow supporters, like, as much as we're like so hyper focused on this inaugural season, we're all in, like, we waited 3 years and an extra year for it. And like, so we're all like so intensely focused on these results. You still have to sometimes take a step back and think about the big picture and be like, what's it going to be like to go to a Charlotte FC game in 3 years from now, when we've got even more history and, you know, hopefully even more support, and, you know, the upper deck is open every week and stuff like that. Like the thinking about the bright future of this club is a great way to it can help you get over a loss sometimes, for sure.
That's for sure. I tell you, this is one thing, man. When Sergio goes, man, that's going to be, I don't know. How do you guys feel about that?
I mean, he's pretty
much gone, right?
What?
I said he's pretty much gone, right?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty much. I mean, it seems like it's been confirmed like pretty consistently from multiple sources throughout the last day or two, and I think there's probably a couple of reasons for it. One, maybe just like, I mean, he just had a kid, and switching countries is a lot for that. I mean, I have a 7-month-old, and I lived in the same house, and so I can't even imagine what it's like going across the pond like that and going through that experience, you know. And so I'd imagine that probably plays into it. And also just, I mean, I think he's had La Liga teams interested in him since they signed, similar to like how Riley McGree was getting interest from before the club even formed, like, you know, was anywhere near a full squad. And so I think that might play a role in it too. And just finding minutes, right? All these guys, that's the other thing about having a lot of guys who have traits that teams want. They all are looking for minutes, right? McCoon's looking for minutes, and he couldn't find them here anymore because of the coaching change, right? And so now he's looking for minutes in New England. And I think Ruiz is in the same boat, where he's just like, he also is looking for some minutes.
Yeah. No, I don't get attached to players myself. Talking about Teddy's comment, that's why I never get a player's name on the back of my shirt, man. Just because you know, it's all about the crown versus the player, in my opinion, right? And so
love that for you, Lee.
Yeah.
That's why I love you, Lee. That's why I fucking love you, brother.
Oh man,
it's all about the crown.
JT was here; he'd be giving you all kinds of hugs.
Love JT. I love JT too. I would agree with what Crowns said in the comments, was just that Ruiz has shown moments of brilliance but disappeared way too often. Seemed like what the common pattern with him was, he'd come in off the bench and play really well, and everybody would be like, oh, well, we got to get him in the starting lineup. Then he starts and he played like ass, and it's like, he goes back to the bench, and then he comes back. You know, that cycle repeated itself 2 or 3 times over the course of the season. And ultimately, I kind of am with Brian. I don't know Sergio. I'd love to chat with him because he does seem like a nice guy, and I appreciate like how, at least publicly, he was always very positive. He never betrayed anything of what might be going on in his head with wanting to leave publicly, and I respect that for sure. He always put on a brave face, but it's pretty clear from like the way it's developed. I don't think this is the case of Charlotte getting rid of him at all. I think it's the case of him just not being really happy here, and not necessarily specifically to Charlotte, but more to the United States, as Brian hinted at. Like, he probably has a million reasons to want to go back to in Spain, the new baby being one of them. And I don't begrudge him at all. I hope he goes and finds what he's looking for. I think he's a spiritual loss to us more as our first ever signing than he is like an impact loss on the pitch. So we'll see.
That's fair. Yeah, and how about Romero? We should bring that up too, right? I mean, that's going to be good for him and his family, man. I hope it works out the way they vision it. I'm excited for the kid. Our first youth player, really, right? To sign a professional contract.
He's our first contractual homegrown, right? Like I consider Lindsay kind of a homegrown, just in my head, and I would almost consider McNeil kind of a homegrown, sort of. Yeah. But Romero's our first guy with the special contract status of homegrown.
Yeah, I mean, he is one of our own, as Brian is saying.
He's one of our own. That's one of my favorite songs. So yeah.
It always ends with Harry Kane, but anyway.
Well, I knew you were thinking of Harry Kane there, Lee. That was the problem, but and the halftime ceremony was awesome. Like, how cool for that kid to just go out and receive all that love raining down on him from the stands at halftime. That was awesome.
Yeah, as long as he stays grounded and doesn't go to his head, right, and he just keeps grinding out and doing what he needs to do, man.
He's a good boy. He's a good little 16-year-old boy. We got he doesn't have any attitude problems or anything. He's until you give me a reason to think otherwise, I'm gonna think basically this kid's an angel walking on earth. So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And I think that's what the MLS Next Pro kind of provides now, right? We have another outlet for them to kind of like learn the ropes and get to that first team status and sort of keep that humility in terms of like slowly getting to that point, right? And
Right.
I think honestly, like Romero's gonna like make that whole like bridge forming like just get really hype. I think a lot of people probably might show up because we're likely going to see him be playing there a decent amount, which is super exciting.
Could Haggart play for Next Pro?
Yeah, but I think there's a decent chance Haggart could make the roster.
Yeah, I think so. He's killing it with the Independence. So
dude, he's so slick with the ball, man.
Yeah,
like I just love the way he looks like
I saw him play against Charleston Battery. I went down to the match, the first match, and I was like, "Who is this Haggart guy? Get him off the squad. This guy's terrible." Yeah. And then now, a few months later, I'm watching him play for Charlotte Independence and just completely bossing the game and like doing whatever he wants out there. I'm like, "Get this guy to the first team. Come on, get him up." So
he's a good player, man. So we'll kind of shift away from. We'll just do some open discussion stuff now. I mean, looking through the comments, basically, will Santos play on Saturday? I doubt it. I seriously doubt it too. Right?
I States by Saturday.
What's that?
I said, will he even be in the States by Saturday? I think that's
no. I always try to give him at least a fortnight after they sign over there.
Yeah, he'll probably play some Xbox. That's about it.
Yeah, and then do we think whatever his name is starts right away after his match?
Why do you hate on Burn? Lee hates Burn. I'm gonna get that going. I can't even remember this guy's name.
I screw up everybody's name, man. So I have to give them all nicknames, and I'm the only one that knows what the hell I'm talking about when I'm talking.
I'm all about nicknames. My nickname for Quinn McNeil is now Quinn City. I got that. Yeah. So
here's a good question. Sure. What do you guys think an obstacle is for the rest of the season? Winning on the road would be my biggest obstacle. Right? That's to get us.
Boil it down to that.
Yeah.
I think the next, can we get one streak of like maybe at least minimum of 3 games where we don't have a loss? Like, can we get there at the end of the season? Because I don't know if we've done that. I don't think we've gone on any kind of streak where we've collected 7 to 9 points straight. And I really thought this last string of games was that option to really pick up even 12 or 13 points. And we didn't. And so that was really got me down in the stretch. It's like, we did not take advantage of the stretch that was given to us. And now this next stretch is a lot harder. Like, we're about to hit a really rough patch. But so like during that obstacle, can we find a streak in there? Because I think one streak of 9 points or something like that, 3 wins, a couple wins and a draw puts us in pretty close to soundly in 6 or 7.
Yeah, I think most of the comments are saying the same thing, right? We got to learn how to win on the road. I think that's the biggest obstacle for real, especially, basically this playoff chase is in our hands to lose, man. So we have to win on the road.
And it really underlines like how important it is to get 3 points against Chicago when you look at the road games that we play right after that. We have to fly out midweek. We have to fly out on a Saturday to LAFC, and the one of the farthest road trips we can make other than Portland or Seattle, and then we immediately have to play 3.5 days later in New York City.
Yep.
And against the defending champs, and LAFC is the current first place team in the league. So that's 2 of the that's a big you want to talk about MLS hates Charlotte, or MLS likes to stick it to Charlotte, or at least doesn't care enough about Charlotte to not stick it to them. This is us getting it stuck to for sure, because this is the LA New York City doubleheader is going to be brutal. And if we come out of that with even a point, I think it bodes very well for our playoff chances.
100%. And
a win in either of those 2 games would be amazing and would supercharge our playoff run. I feel but we'll see. But let's deal with Chicago first.
Yeah, and so talking about the MLS as a whole, right? Do you think some of these big names, like Bell and those sort of guys coming in are bigger for the league? I think 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
It only helps bring fans that maybe not watch, because I know some people are just big fans of Bell in general, and they've watched him his whole career, right, since he was at Southampton. seeing them come over to the MLS, it just, I mean, it's, to me, it makes the MLS that more intriguing, right?
Yeah, and that's a guy who's going to be playing in the World Cup. So when you have World Cup level players who are coming to the league, that's great. Ricky Puig from Barcelona. I think kind of the root of that question is it better for these old veteran stars to be coming in or like young potential future stars? I don't really care that much about Ricky Puig coming into LA. He doesn't do much for me. Barcelona was very demystified for me once they got rid of Messi. I don't really put them on the magical super high plane that they used to be on when they had Messi. So I'm not really interested in their cast-offs. They can barely even afford to pay their players these days. So the fact that they sent some bust from their academy out to LA Galaxy doesn't really do much for me. I think Bale and Insigne are way bigger impacts.
Yep, I agree. I can't argue with you there, Danny.
No.
Anyways,
yeah.
So somebody's wanting to do a bet with me. You want to place a little beer bet on Brighton versus Tottenham? I mean, if you want to buy me a beer, I'm down, man. I'm not gonna say no. And what else is going on? Haley, any scouts at tomorrow's tournament? Yeah, so tomorrow night is the supporters group soccer tournament, man. So I believe first game kicks off at 6 in the dome right there by like Clutch and the way to the march, right? So if you're not playing and you just want to come out and hang out, man, watch out because I might be the next signing. Just dropping big news now for
let's go.
Not for Charlotte though. It'd be some grandpa league for sure.
Where do you play? Where do you play on the pitch?
Yes.
You're like a AYSO player, little 9-year-old. You just follow the ball and run to wherever it is.
I played the old traditional sweeper style sort of defender, right? Just because I was too dumb for any other. I didn't have the skill to be up front, and then I just clear it up and get it out, and then a backup keeper if really needed.
I bet you can drop a crunching tackle on somebody for sure.
Back in the day, that's for sure, man. So, yeah, see, where is it? This is the one. I've seen Lee on the pitch and can confirm he can kick the ball.
Love it.
That's it. Yeah, and Lee versus Luka is something the world wants to see. I'm ready, man. I think y'all are gonna be surprised. I might not even smoke any cigarettes tomorrow, just so I'll be that ready.
What time's kickoff?
I think the first game kicks off at 6,
if
I'm not mistaken, and then I think it's like 30-minute games or something, maybe 40 minutes. I have to relook at the schedule and see what's up. But
if I'm not there when you kick off, you can blame traffic.
All right, yeah, that's it. Charlotte FC under 75s, man. That's me right there all day long, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Y'all showing me so much love. So yeah, if you haven't already, hashtag Sir Minty to enter the giveaway. And if you're new to the show, hit the sub button. And if you're a regular, hit the like button. That's we appreciate that. And yeah, man, I think that's really about it. Now you have to smoke cigarettes during the halftime. Yeah, like Gaza, man. And it looks like 6 p.m. is definitely the kickoff. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And then, I know this is a Charlotte show, but the Premier League kind of kicks off tomorrow too. There's going to be a lot of us at Courtyard area come Saturday morning watching that, and then we're going to mosey on over to the stadium for the game Saturday night. So if you want to come hang out. And yes, I am like Davis Sanchez for sure. That's right. That's it. So Scoot, you're on the hook, man. When we beat Brighton, man, you got to buy me 2 beers. I say 2 beers of winner's choice. And then we all know that Palace is going to beat Arsenal tomorrow. And
come on, you poor deluded soul.
Yeah, and look, these poor guys still going on about Chelsea. I mean, who is that? The we beat the other night? Right. I can't remember, man.
Yeah, you realize your Russian money is gone, Chelsea, right? Like,
yeah. Welcome to the Kroenke family, right? Yeah. Oh, look, there's always one in the group, right? Glory, man, you whatever,
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Is there? I didn't know 50-year-olds knew how to use the internet.
That is for the Crown Baby making those comments, not us, because I'm touching 50 myself. So, anyways,
so am I.
Yeah. All right. So hashtag Sir Minty, and I'll give you guys like 60 seconds to get that in, and we'll do the drawing for the giveaway, which is a nice picture from Adam from Defend the Queen. Man, he does great stuff for us, and
it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, you ready? Let's see who the winner is. Dun, dun, dun. And Tanner Long, congratulations, buddy. You are tonight's winner, man. Hit me up or hit Adam up directly wherever you follow us on the socials. And I guarantee you, if I click over to the comments, I see nothing but rigged.
Yeah, it's happening. It's coming. Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, look, rigged. That's it, man. It actually is rigged. These people pay us, and then we just put their names in there to win. And yeah, that's what it is. Collusion. Yeah. Right.
I will say it did look like it hung on Morgan's name quite a bit longer than it usually
Yeah,
does.
I thought Gallimore won that thing. Huh? Yeah.
Well, you know, as much as we love the shipping department has not won anything on our show. So apparently, I'm just going to buy her dinner, you know, to make up for all that. So with Screw Michael, I'm going to take him though. Yeah, she wants $7 back. That's right. All right, guys. So with that being said, man, it's another night of the Fan TV live show. We'll every Wednesday we typically do this. Catch us after the show, after the games for interviews. And then we do the live watch-alongs too. And Danny, man, tell us how they can find you.
Yeah, I'm at Danny Brams. If you see for my personal account, I start, that's a little bit more work-related stuff that I do, but I put some Charlotte stuff on there. And then at For the Crown Baby, that's our podcast, the Charlotte Soccer Show. Me and John Hayes, we're the guys that are always complaining about the team. But we still love it. We got a lot of love, and we love to give love as well. And we have really just enjoyed. We love talking about the team all the time. So please follow us there. We try to be engaging on Twitter, and I would just say thank you so much for the invite, Lee. And Brian, you and I have spoken a lot online, and this is the first time we got to actually meet and talk, and love your writing, love your perspective on the team and your knowledge. So I appreciate that. Lee, love everything you're bringing. You are so important to this community of fans, just the ability for people to walk out of the arena right after a game and just put their voices on give that instant reaction is just so awesome. And I love watching your fan reaction videos. So keep those up, and thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and you're more than welcome. I appreciate the kind words, man. Yeah, it's going to make Lee cry. I think it. And yeah, Adam is saying 20% off all week. So there you go. So follow him if you're not. He does some solid stuff. And real quick, where was it? Sorry, wrong one. I think you guys are typing. David, I got you, man. You come find me. I got you, man. It just poor Chelsea fans over here struggling. Now they're they've gone from being able to buy yachts and everything to asking for a beer. So I got you, David. Yeah. So and Brian, man, tell us how we can find you.
Yeah. So you can find me on Twitter at BA Maurer Media. You can find all my written work at topin90.com. And I always forget this, so I got to make sure I call this out. Also, like I said, all of my work is on topin90.com. Subscribe to the website, and if you subscribe by tomorrow morning, I'm sending the emails out with the links, and I've been doing that all week. But I'll also get you in then to the Subscribers Cup that we are doing. It's for subscribers of our website. It's the FPL Subscribers Cup that we're doing with the website for our own subscribers. So if you subscribe to the website, I'll send that link. Just make sure it's before the Arsenal game, before Arsenal wins tomorrow. So
sorry, you were breaking up, man. You got that shitty internet.
No, dude, I've got that Gunners internet connection. It never goes out over here, dude. It's not like the Spurs glitchy, kids watching.
Only works 1 out of 4 times or something, or 5th maybe. Anyways,
careful.
Yeah,
careful.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all in good fun. And you can find us at all socials at CLTFC Fan TV, and we'll see you out at the games. And appreciate y'all tuning in. And Danny O'Brien, man, thanks for hanging out with me for an hour. We really appreciate y'all, and peace.